Hello, it's me, Andy, from Blitsgaming. Hope you're having a great day. It's just coming up to the weekend. It's Friday. Today's video, we've got Hogwarts Legacy. I know I've already done one on ARM. I've been waiting for the drivers to come out from AMD and Nvidia. Nvidia's still not released a driver, and it does show in the benchmarking when a driver's bad, it shows real bad. Let's take a look. Okay, let's look at our system build. We're using our normal 13600K test system. So we've got Gigabyte Z690 Gaming X with DDR4 setup, not DDR5. So we've got Intel i5 13600K, 16 gigs of Corsair DDR4 3200 MHz CL16, Western Digital 500 gigs NVMe drive for Windows, Western Digital 4TB blue hard drive for the games, Corsair 850 watts power supply, a Lian Li all-in-one 240 CPU cooler, that's the Galahad version, the Intel Arc A770 16 gig limited edition, AMD's Vega 7 5600G, built-in graphics, AMD's RX550, AMD's RX6500XT, AMD's RX6600, not XT, mistake there, Nvidia GTX1650, Nvidia GTX1650, Nvidia RTX 2060 6 gig version. Now I've got AMD driver 23:1 with Hogwarts support. Nvidia driver, there's still no Hogwarts support, as I said earlier. And the Intel driver, it still classes as a beta. They've updated it because it now supports new games, Company Heroes. But it no longer lists Hogwarts for some reason. It didn't list Hogwarts, so I don't know if it still supports Hogwarts, or they're not just listed it, or they're updating it. Not quite sure. So yeah. But as I said, it does show when things are not up to date. So we've got Windows up to date. Now we're going to be using FSR2 for the graphic cards, NIS and DLS. We'll be doing both runs for the graphic cards for Nvidia, XeSS for Intel's Arc, and we've got ray tracing on and off. Now I'm not going to mix and match FSR and NIS on different graphic cards. I'm only leaving them for the manufacturers. So if it's Nvidia, it's going to be NIS or DLS, AMD FSR2, and Intel XeSS only. Make life easy. Otherwise we'll be doing a hell of a lot of runs, and it just takes too long. Okay. Let's get on with the benchmarking. So the benchmarking split into 3 sections. We've got Hogsmeade first, then we've got a run where you run from Hogsmeade back to the castle. Then we've got Hogwarts itself, going up the Dark Tower staircase. Hogsmeade is the where the frame rate drops a lot. Hogwarts itself, you get a lot more, at least 25% more frame rate there, but you also get all the freezing and stuttering and all sorts of silly things. Okay, let's get on with it. There will be charts at the end, and they will include Intel's Arc. If you want to see the video on Intel's Arc, I'll put a link up now. Okay, just to let you know, before you mention something, I have no control of the daylight or weather cycle in the game. On one screen it looked maybe bright and everything looked great. On the other screen it looked dark and looked miserable. So we're going to go, got the full screen, no VSync turned on because you want to get maximum frame rate. I'm going to be running that full screen window they have on here. They don't have a full screen. And we're going through all the settings. We'll be low all the way to ultra with FSR on, and as I said earlier, ray tracing as well. As this is a new series, can it play? We are on AMD's Vega 7, which is built into AMD's 5600G Ryzen processor. So we're talking about the lowest of the lowest. I was going to compare it to Intel's UHD 770, but I couldn't get UHD 770 to run at all, even lower than 720p. So we're on 720p. I've got 4 tabs, like film grain on the main screen. There's 4 tabs. They're all turned off. I mean, everything is off. Yeah, if it's got an on button, it's off. So we're on 720p, low preset to run this. And I said there's no special features turned on. We've got FSR 2 is the only thing is turned on balanced. I did try with Nvidia's NIS on the same settings. Well, NIS has actually got different settings to FSR 2, but I thought the picture quality came out worse, even on quality, ultra quality on NIS. It just come out bad, and the frame rate drops as well if you put it on too high. But it did run faster, to about 8 frames faster than FSR 2. But as I said, the picture quality was it was worse. So I just left it with FSR 2 turned on. Again, if you plan to run Intel's integrated graphics on a laptop or desktop, don't bother, it was a waste of space. Now, everyone slags AMD off their better drivers. Well, Nvidia, what are you going to say now? So we got AMD's RX550 on the left with FSR2 on balanced, with all those tabs turned off again, so there's no special features except FSR2. Nvidia's 1030 on the right as NIS turned on balanced, with TAA on low. When you use NIS, TAA doesn't turn off. I think AMD got a built-in integrated change the setting. So yeah, but Nvidia, now I don't know if it's down to 2 gig of memory, but your card does not render this game. It's just awful. Now I did actually leave the game sitting still for 10 minutes just to see if it can catch up the rendering. It didn't make no difference at all. I mean, it's just it's awful. It don't matter how you look at it, it is just bad. Now I did try it with FSR, FSR2, change all the settings under the sun to see if it would make any difference. On the Nvidia card, no. The Nvidia 1030, like I said, it may be a driver fault, or it's rather down to the 2 gig buffer. But yeah, it just don't work. At the end of the day, you just don't want to know. And this was the latest update, so for the game. So I don't know. I suggest you just keep away from it if you've got an Nvidia 1030 graphic card. Okay, this is the road walks from Hogsmeade to Hogwarts. We won't go all the way back to the castle, but when you're on low presets with those 4 tabs off, you seem to get this bug. It does come on both systems. You will see it in a minute. You get this dark patch appear out of nowhere, and it just keeps like there you are on the AMD's graphics, and it won't go away. It just appears. It doesn't happen in Hogsmeade. Well, I've not seen it in the Hogsmeade, and I've not seen it in the Hogwarts itself. It's just for some odd reason on this road you get that dark patch. It doesn't always happen. I've not been able to replicate it. It just happens when it decides to happen. It's bizarre. Not a lot I can do about it, really. Yeah. So yeah, again, you got the Nvidia problem where it's not rendering graphics. Yeah, it's just bizarre. I still think it's down to an Nvidia driver bug. The dark thing, that's down to the game, because it's done it on this graphic card, these 2 graphic cards, and Intel's Arc. So yeah, that's definitely a game bug, the dark thing. So yeah, Nvidia, again, get your driver sorted. It ain't good enough. Yeah, so this is in Hogwarts, the Dark Tower, up and down the staircase. Yeah, you can see it sort of rendered, then sort of stopped rendering. The graphic card just can't keep up with what's going on the screen. But it does look better than it did outside. Again, I think it's down to the driver. We are doing around between 35 and 50 frames average up and down. Yeah, it just look lovely. At least you can play on the AMD graphic card and even on the AMD Vega 7 at 720p, but not on Nvidia's 1030. We're now on AMD's 6500 XT and Nvidia's 1650. AMD's got FSR2 on quality. NIS is on ultra quality with TAA on. It's not my fault. Both manufacturers use different settings. So I've just gone for the top tier and hopefully they'll be close as possible. But you can always tweak it. It's entirely up to you. But yeah, the settings do seem to favour AMD's graphic card by quite a lot. We're talking about nearly 30 frames in some cases. Yeah, no problem. So yeah, again, the problem with 6500 XT, he can't make his mind up. Sometimes it's really fast over the 1650, and another time it just comes out as equal, where the 1650 seems to be just great all around. They've both got 4 gigs of memory, so yeah, take that into consideration. There's a bit just coming up where I'll jump over a chair on the Nvidia card. Now, see it stutter there? It seems to do that a lot on Nvidia cards. Again, I think it's down to the driver. So now we're doing a run from Hogsmeade back to Hogwarts. Again, we're at 1080p, medium presets with FSR2 on the AMD card, on quality, and NIS ultra quality with TAA on Nvidia card. Again, both manufacturers have different setups. I've just gone for the top tier, and hopefully they're supposed to be equal as possible. You might say to me, oh, well, that's not equal, but okay, you're always going to pick the fastest one out of the two. Now, if you've got an Nvidia card, you're always going to pick DLS if your card supports DLS, and yes, it is the quickest out of all the upscalers. So yeah, again, it's not equal across the board because AMD doesn't support DLS. So yeah, I've just done it this way. It's tied up to you which upscale you want to be. Now I've got all the settings also recorded without FSR and all that turned on. So yeah, you can see it equal, 100% equal with without those settings on when I do the charts. And I've got higher settings as well. But I won't have them all on there because otherwise this video will go on forever. So yeah, it seems to be equal across the board out in the open. So yeah, can't complain too much. It would be nice if I could set the day-night cycle and the weather so I can make it equal doing a benchmark, but we just have a hope one day that the people who make games will listen to their players. Back to the Dark Tower in Hogwarts, game at 1080p, medium presets with FSR or NIS turned on. Again, it's favouring AMD here over Nvidia by a good 20 odd frames on average. We'll see the chart when it all comes out at the end, how they all compare, and don't forget we will also include Intel's Arc at the end of the day, see how well it all turns up. Don't forget people, please subscribe if you haven't done so. Okay, so now we're in 1080p ultra presets with FSR, upscaling is turned on. Also added Intel's Arc A770 on the left with XeSS. Then we've got AMD's RX6600 with FSR2 on quality, followed by Nvidia's 2060 with NIS on ultra quality with TAA on high, followed by Nvidia's 2060 again, this time with DLSS turned on quality mode. So yeah, XeSS is the slowest of the batch, but I did try with FSR and NIS, and it did match the other two. It's just XeSS is not particularly fast at this time, and it will improve, just like FSR and all that improve with DLS. So you just have to wait till it gets better. As a note, I mean, DLS looks okay here, but when you go to Hogwarts, DLS runs awful. Gets the highest frame rate, gets up to 150 frames with DLS turned on, and it also drops down to like 0. The stuttering freezing is a nightmare with DLSS turned on in Hogwarts. Yeah, sorry by the way, forgot to put a frame time graph on the bottom of the Intel Arc and change the writing for average in white, make it easier to read. But otherwise, yeah, everything works fine. We now switch over to ray tracing mode with everything turned on. So they've got ray tracing out on ultra, and you see things change around quite easy. Intel's Arc is now the fastest card, quite a long way at the end of the day. You can see AMD's having a nightmare. Wish it wasn't on the screen. Yeah, again, the RX6600 is too slow for ray tracing. Mind you, the 2060, okay, it does run, but again, we're on the lows, we're in the 30s. The only card what really is playable is Intel Arc A770 with the ray tracing turned on. And then again, you're only over the 40s. It does go up to 50s on the average. But yeah, otherwise, yeah, okay, Intel's Arc's the newest card, and at least they got the driver working, up to date, and you see it plays fine with the game overall. We'll switch over to 1440p, no ray tracing. This time running in high presets. Now I personally think this is probably the best preset to run out. It stopped a lot of the freezing for starters. For some reason, being on ultra, we get that freezing, stuttering effect. Okay, the quality of the picture's down slightly, but it's hard to notice when you're running around. I mean, if you wanted to stop and like zoom into areas, yeah, you'll notice, okay, foliage is here, texture's a bit lower here. But personally, I think no problem running high presets. Now we have got upscaling turned on as well. So we've got XeSS turned on the Arc, FSR2 for AMD, NIS with TAA on Nvidia, followed by DLS on quality last. So yeah, they all come out pretty good, not a problem. They're all running over the 60 barrier, so yeah, I think you'll be fine running our high presets at 1440p. Yeah, because it's 1440p, you get better overall picture quality, sharper, but like I said, the texture and that slightly down because you're on high sets instead of ultra. But yeah, if it was me, I'd play on this setting. I'm not worried about ray tracing. Personally, I don't think ray tracing did a lot, so again, in this setting, this works fine. Okay, I won't show the other runs. I've already showed you the most demanding place with ray tracing turned on. We just go to the charts, and then you can see the full breakdown there. and I'll give you a hint. Intel's Arc is overall the best card. It is the newest, but it is the overall best card, and in some cases it's a lot cheaper as well. Okay, got the chart up. At the bottom we have AMD's Vega 7, done well in the 40s. One set of those good as well. Then we've got Nvidia's 1030, but I won't count that because of the rendering problem. And we've got AMD's RX550, which done well in the 40s, no problem. Then we have AMD's RX550, these are pack 48, and one set of those in the 30s. So yeah, that done well. Both those cards done well. Yeah, it was playable on RX550. Picture quality is not great. That's because it's in 720p. And then you got upscaling turned on as well. So it don't work. Picture wise, not the greatest, but it was playable. And I think if you've got a small screen, it won't look so bad. We go up to medium settings. Got a game. We got Nvidia's GTX1650. Now again, we're in the 40s, and the one set of those in the 30s. Yeah. I mean, yeah, you can play over the 30s. It's a single player game, not playing multiplayer. So, yeah, all the frame rate and the sun doesn't matter so much. But I would definitely play it with NOS turned on, because the bonus on the frame rate is worth it. AMD 6500 XT has no problem playing the game on medium. Done really well. It's just below the 60, and the one set lows in the 30s. So yeah, again, no problem. And once you obviously turn FSR2 on, it just flies really. I mean, it really has a boost. Averaging just below 90 frames, and a 1% low, well in the 40s. So yeah, can't complain at all. You can even play in higher presets with the 6500 XT, with FSR2 on, still in the 60s, and still in the 40s on the 1% low. Nvidia card drops quite a bit, so on the Nvidia card, again, still over the 30s, but I'll probably stay on medium preset for that card, just to make sure we get a nice smooth frame rate. Now switch up to Ultra, and now we've got Intel's Arc now added to the chart, and Intel's Arc is at the top of the league, just under average, 70 FPS and just under 50 on the 1% low. AMD's RX6600 and Nvidia's 2060, very similar, nothing in it really. They're both in the high 20s on the 1% low and just around the 60 barrier on the average. Turn on the upscaling, again AMD leads a pack, one in the 80s, 1% lows in the 50s, followed by Intel's Arc. Now I think Intel's Arc would have gone quicker if I turned FSR2 on or NIS. It would have certainly gone faster than XeSS. Nvidia's 2060 comes in the 70s, but has a bit of a 1% low drop. Again, I still think it's all down to drivers. They've not released the driver, so we get shocking play. Some odd reason I missed out DLS at standard settings. But DLS, it wasn't much quicker than XeSS, NIS turned on, and it played quite awful in certain parts of the game. We go up to ray tracing mode, which in Ultra. I did try in certain parts of the game turn it on to low, and ray tracing didn't seem to make much difference. It just runs quite awful. I mean, you got Intel Arc, has no problem, gets into the 50s, even 1% lows, good. I mean, the other two cards, the 2060 and AMD's RX6600, are really not worth playing with ray tracing on at all. So I'll keep just clear of those two cards if you want ray tracing turned on. If you want to improve picture quality and you've got one of those medium cards, Intel's Arc 770, AMD's 6600 or a 2060, I suggest you go to 1440p. You get a lot sharper picture. Okay, we are putting the settings down to high, but when you put the upscaling on, they go some, they're getting well into the 70s. Okay, the DLS on a 2060 does have that drop. As I said earlier, there's a problem with DLS. Well, it's a problem with Nvidia drivers altogether. But again, you see there, it's dropping. There's a lot of freezing, stuttering all over the place with DLS on. You just want to play it with NIS if you can. Make life a lot easier for you. Again, if you've got ARC and you turn FSR 2 on, you would topple the score. And yes, it did go faster with NIS as well over FSR, but obviously Nvidia driver been a bit funny. Anything could happen. Could we drop down, stuttering, all that sort of stuff. So yeah, you will certainly topple the score, probably about another 5, even 10 frames higher than what he's got there. But otherwise, yeah, at this moment in time, AMD wins with the upscaler turned on at 1440p on high presets. Okay, we got a bit of a laugh on our test run here. We have an AMD 5900 Ryzen CPU, so 12 cores, 32 gigs of system memory. Straight away you can see we've gone over 16 gig up to 24 gig. So yes, having more memory than 16 gigs is great. We've got a 3080 DLS turned on, quality with ray tracing turned on ultra, and you can see we're even struggling on this CPU. I mean, look, we've got people disappearing now. That's really good magic, that. And yeah, again, I think most of it's down to Nvidia's driver. Yes, we know ray tracing is a bit of a killer. Now, I actually played this obviously on this system at 1440p without ray tracing, and you can see the reason why. And so, considering how old the 3080 is, which is not a lot, it just runs bad. Ray tracing is a killer. Again, I'm not sure how much ray tracing works in this game. It don't really stand out. There's only one place I know it works properly in Hogwarts itself. When you come down the Dark Tower staircase, you got one or possibly two people sitting on the bench, which is next to a window, and you can see their reflections in the floor. With ray tracing off, it doesn't happen. So yeah, that's the only place I know it actually works. The rest of the world, you can say, well, you've got lots of shadows. Yeah, but I think that's just the way the sun is out at this moment in time. Okay, got 8 screenshots for here and for next. You can see there, everything's done in 1440p, so it's a lot clearer than it should be. But you can see, if you look at low, there's flowers missing in the background to the others. Also, the water puddles are missing on the floor. So it's slightly blurrier in some places as well. We go to high, missed out medium, not enough boxes. You got the puddles, you got the flowers, and again, as I said before, it's hard to tell between high and ultra. What do you want to play out? I mean, yeah, you can zoom in and look at some bits, and yes, ultra does have that slight edge in quality. It's slightly sharper, but to be honest with you, I'd probably play it higher. You get more frame rate, a lot better frame rate, and it don't really look that much difference. Go to ray tracing, it's brighter, but it still looks dull. It doesn't. You go by Cyberpunk, the shadows really stand out, a lot darker, and the sun again really a lot brighter. Yes, it is brighter in the picture, but it's not like bright. So yeah, and obviously, as I showed you, ray tracing is hard work. Again, we've got the other 4 screenies, and look at low, See, there's grass missing. The building. It's not as bright as what it should be. So if you look at the background, I mean all the mounting range and everything is in the background, nothing seems to be missing. The steeple's all there on all the pictures, can't really see any difference between the two, anything missing. Again, you'd have to zoom in to actually see. The only thing what you notice straight away, again in low, grass is missing. And it is a little bit thicker on ultra over high. It's about the only time I've noticed it, being out in the grass. In ray tracing mode, yes, it is brighter. It does look nicer, I don't know, with ray tracing. Now, I took these pictures all within 2 minutes. Now, usually I use a save, but as I said before, even when you use a save, the weather effect still changes. You load it up 5 times and it's 5 different times on the weather. So yeah, even though ray tracing is brighter, it's possible that the sun came out at that point. So don't go by it too much. On the ray tracing, again, if you go by Cyberpunk, shadows a lot darker, so the brightness was a lot brighter. It doesn't really stand out massively if you look at those screenshots. Now going by the screenshots, even though it's got the smoke coming out of the chimneys, so to be honest with you, even low settings look great, especially if you're getting all the background show up. It's going to look great, you're never going to complain. Okay, we are back. Okay, so what's the best card? Well, overall the best card is Arc. I mean, if you added FSR2 to Arc, I think you'd win every test. No problem. Yeah, because it was worth an extra 15 frames extra with FSR2 turned on. Not that I did a test, because I said I just wanted to keep the manufacturer to its own software and its hardware to see how it all goes. Otherwise we might end up getting bugs, and more bugs than we've already got in the game. So yeah, but at the budget end, if we go to the budget, obviously the cheapest thing to buy would be the 5600G. It's coming in about 135, 140 pound. But then it gives you a graphic card, which is equivalent to the 1030 or AMD's RX550. So there's no point buying those cards if you've got 5600G. End off, it's just not worth it. Yeah, so if you was playing at 720p, AMD's 5600G is the perfect solution. Again, you save yourself £100 at the end of the day on a graphics card, and you're not getting any more benefit out of those two cards, except for what, 5 frames here and there. Yeah, it's not really worth the spending those money if you've got 5600G already. I did try on Intel's UHD 770. I just want to play. I had plenty of anomalies, and I couldn't get no more than 25 frames at best. Most of the time it was around 12 frames. Yeah, it was just a disaster. So yeah, if you want to play on an Intel laptop with Intel graphics, it ain't going to work. So just let you know. Okay, next best thing, we got up to 1080p. We got up to 1080p medium. AMD 6500 XT was way better than the Nvidia 1650. So yeah, medium settings we're doing basically around 90 frames with 51% low, and on the high settings 60 at 41% low. So yeah, you're getting that good frame rate on high settings on that card, no problem. And you've got to remember, all these numbers are all taken from Hogsmeade, not Hogwarts Castle, where the frame rate's a lot higher, and even on the outside most of the areas is a lot higher than what we got here. So yeah, again, cards were what, £150 bonus really. So where do we go next? So we got frame rate wise, 2060 was coming in on with TAA turned on Ultra. 60-30, so 60 average, and we're on the 31% low. With NIS turned on, we was doing just over the 70s and 30 on a 1% low. So bit of a drop on that one. So yeah, not bad. But the RX6600 with TAA on was doing 60-30, matching the 2060, and didn't have no silly bugs anywhere. But with FSR on, I mean, it really just flew away. We're talking about 90 frames with a 1% low or 50. I mean, it walked it really. And if you include Arc was doing with TAA 70 frames, 1% low 50, with XES turned on 80 with 50 frames for the 1% low. But again, if you turned Arc on with FSR2, I think that would have toppled the score. I think it would have just gone over 90 frames, beating the RX6600. And the best thing about it, it's got the power to play ray tracing, where the other two cards just ain't got no power at all to play ray tracing. So yeah, they do vary in price. Arc being the most expensive card at the moment of the lot. Now there has been a discounted. I'm not sure if they've done it on the 16 gig version or the 8 gig version. But the 8 gig version is £100 cheaper. So it only comes in at 250, not 350. It's sort of priced on the RX6600. But if it was me, I'd buy Arc. Now you say, okay, well, AMD drivers are better. Yeah, overall, all the games I've tested, Arc has rather matched AMD's RX6600. Yes, there may be some things what weren't working properly, some silly stuff, but not flashing or major bugs in the graphics. Always been faster, a lot faster. So yeah, and we just have to see how it goes. But the 3060, I mean, the price is there. The cheapest one I saw was for £300 odd. And then announced the 4060, which also has got 8 gig of memory, which is a bit stupid really. Card today, it's got to have at least. Now the funny thing is, this 3060's got 12 gig, so I'm not quite sure where the 4060's only got 8 gig. I'm not quite sure. Nvidia sometimes just really not with it, really. I have to say, that don't make sense to me. Now obviously the biggest problem we've got at the moment, doing all these tests for Hogwarts, Nvidia not released a driver. Well, there is a driver, but it doesn't mention Hogwarts anywhere. So by going by that, I take it there's no optimization at all in their driver for this game. That's why it runs crap. That's why the 1030 didn't even render properly. So yeah, but again, if it's down to me, I'll still buy. If I had the extra money, I'd buy Arc with 16 gigs of video RAM if you had the money. If you don't, at the end of the day, just go down to the 6500 XT, play this game, and no problem, medium or high, game, easy banged out 60 frames at 1080p, no problem. Again, at 1440p, those three cards can play top end cards, well not top end cards, they're medium cards, Arc, RX6600 and 2060 can play at 1440p. Okay, the 2060 was a bit low in some places, but AMD's RX6600 are no problem playing at high settings at 1440p. Again, same with Intel's Arc. Ray tracing, not going to happen. But again, ray tracing worked fine. Well, it was playable everywhere on the Arc at 1080p. Like I said, the other two cards, no go. And again, I don't have a 3060, so I can't test ray tracing how well that worked. Well, that's it. I hope you like the video, and if you do, don't forget thumbs up and please subscribe. And I will see you in the next video, which will be Company Heroes. Now it's been released. We'll be testing Arc and all these other graphic cards and CPUs with it. to see how well it runs. So look out sometimes the next week for that. Okay, have fun all. Catch you later.